This is 2008 question 10b. A train of mass 200 tons. That will be 200,000 kilograms, which we'll need. Moves along a straight level track. Resistance 400 v squared. So 400 v squared in that direction. Or v meter per second is the speed of the train. The engine exerts a constant power of P kilowatts. Now that would be 1,000 watts, which is what we're dealing with here. So P times 1,000, or 1,000 P, is the force of the train, or the power of the train. And let's have a look at what power is in the tables. Power, we're dealing with force and velocity here. Power is equal to F times V. So over here, 1,000 P is equal to force times velocity. So 1,000 P over V is the force driving the train forward. So if we set up our equation, force is equal to ma, we should be able to then solve for P in part 1, and we're given A. So we have 1,000 P over V driving it. The resistance is 400 V squared. That's equal to mass 200,000 times A. (8,000) minus V cubed over 500 feet. So what's the easiest way to multiply? Maybe here by V. If we times everything by V, we'll cancel the V's on the bottom. This will become 1,000 P minus 400 V cubed equals 200,000. If there's a V here, it will cancel with the 1 on the bottom. 8,000 minus V cubed over 500. So I think the best way is to multiply by 500 and divide by 200,000. That would get rid of this one and this one. So that would give 5 over 2p, or 2.5p, minus V cubed equals, it'll just be 8,000 minus V cubed on the right. The V cubes will cancel and we get power P to be 8,000 divided by 2.5 is 3,200 for part 1. Then part 2, the train travels a distance while its speed increases. Find the value of V1. So let's look at acceleration again. 8,000 minus V cubed over 500 feet, which is my acceleration. This is going to be V dv ds. We're looking at distance and velocity. So if I multiply by the s and 500 v, I'll get 500 v squared dv divided by 8,000 minus v cubed is equal to ds. Maybe divide by 500 and just leave the v squared on top. V squared dv. This is another one of these substitution questions. Over 8,000 minus v cubed is equal to ds over 500, or 1 over 500 ds. So if we let u equal the bottom, 8,000 minus v cubed, you might see a pattern with what happens with these. Du dv is equal to minus 3v squared. So we want, well, if you look at the top here, v squared dv. So multiply by dv, we get du on top and divide by the minus 3. That will be equal to v squared dv, or minus 1 over 3 times du is equal to v squared dv. So coming up over here, now have minus 1 over 3, and if we take this whole thing, it'll be minus 1 over 3, that will be, and the du, and then we just need to bring in the 1 over 8000 minus v cubed, which is 1 over u, so that's what we're going to integrate, keep the constant out, and that's equal to 1 over 500 ds. And now we're given our values. Just do a big integral so I can put it in. The distance is 60. Find the train travels a distance while its speed increases from 10 to v1. So speed from 10 to v1 and distance from 0 to 69.07. So we have minus 1 over 3 by the natural log of u, which was the 8000 minus v cubed, and we're going to put that in between v1 and 10. That will be equal to just s, and that will be between 69.07. That's the only value it's going to give, 69.07 and 500 over 500. If we put s over 500, we're going to put it in, just skip a little bit, so minus 1 over 3 by the natural log of 8000 minus v1 to be cubed, and then it's going to be minus the natural log of 8000 minus 10 cubed, which is 1000, so that'll be 7000. It's going to be equal to the right hand side here, 69.07 over 500. Just take your time simplifying it down. It's the first one over the second one here, the natural log, or we could multiply by 3 actually and change the signs here. So if we put a multiply, just both of these, get your brackets right, so multiplying by 3 and changing the signs, or just do 7000 over the negative one, 8000 minus v1 cubed, they're testing your patience here, is equal to 3 times 69.07 over 500. So e to the power of the right hand side, let's just shorten that down, e to the power of the right hand side, we put it in a box, is equal to 7000 over 8000 minus v1 cubed. So 8000 e to the power of the right hand side minus e to the power of the right hand side by v1 cubed is equal to 7000. So 8000 e to the power of the right hand side minus 7000 equals, it'll be v1 cubed times e to the power of the right hand side, so just divide by e to the power of the right hand side, and we're going to get the cube root of this. The cube root of this will be equal to v. So writing it in, taking your time, let's see what we get. And it's giving me 14.99999 on a calculator, so we'll say that v is equal to 15 meters per second.